We're in here in Austin, Texas, baby. Headed up here to the Not On Our Watch Texas event to hear Elena Cardone give her keynote speech on the child sex trafficking that's going on. Texas is a hot spot.
When I grew up, it was like, beware of the white van.
The big van, yeah.
Kidnapper. Now it's like, no, the social platforms is the white van.
This is your van right here.
Right.
The reality is, I can get on any given app, within 1 minute, get hit up by somebody who thinks they're talking to a kid.
Men and fathers in this country are letting down their families.
I don't think we can arrest our way out of this problem.
Not
on our watch. Not on our watch.
Not on our watch.
Ain't happening.
Okay, not today. Okay.
Hell no.
Yo, it's Trevor Houston. We're out here in Austin, Texas with Top View TV, stopping these child sex traffickers, keeping them off our kids. So y'all make sure you tune into this episode.
Women have the power to keep a civilization in continuation, and how valuable that is. And why would I ever say I'm just a mom? Like I'm responsible for the rearing of 2 children to become productive, contributing members to society. Like that's a big deal. Like anyone can do any sort of a job, but can you really do that job well? It's a difficult job that gets very underrated, and I would love to see women take back that pride of what it means to be a mother, own that role, not feel degraded by it.
Welcome to the Who You Know show, where what you know is important, but who you know can make all the difference in your business, career, relationships, and in your life. Today, I'm super excited and thrilled to have Elena freaking Cardone with us today. And Elena, she is a Hollywood veteran who's transformed into a visionary entrepreneur, event producer, author, and a dedicated advocate for women's empowerment and child protection. And Elena is going to be sharing her remarkable journey and offering insights on entrepreneurship, women's empowerment, family values, and her vital work in combating child sex trafficking.
Yeah.
This is a heavy episode, so I'm excited to have you here, Elena. Appreciate you coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate this.
Absolutely. Well, I'm really pumped and excited for you to be here today because, first and foremost, I got to witness you live at the 10X Growth Conference in Vegas, and you had the whole audience, including myself, in tears.
Really?
It was powerful. The 2 most powerful moments at that conference were definitely you and Glenn Lundy.
Wow.
Y'all just absolutely crushed it.
Thank you.
And so I'm really excited to dive into your journey. Can you tell us a little bit more about the turning point in your life and how you navigated the challenges of embracing the role of a mother, right? Mm-hmm. And also finding your unique identity as a businesswoman, an entrepreneur, and a freaking world changer. Tell us about that.
Well, okay, so, for very many years I was living under this, I don't even know where it came from. It was just self-embedded, I guess. I don't know, probably from society or wherever, but I thought I had to be this independent, powerful woman, never depend on a man and for anything, or anyone for that matter. And I thought my self-worth depended upon how much money I made or what status I had in entrepreneurial or as an actress, or like I needed some sort of an identity in order to be worth something. So it's so hard for me to even talk about this now because I've had a complete 180 in my thinking here. But
it's your superpower now.
It's my superpower now.
Yeah,
to think that I was sitting on this whole time, which is that, I never wanted to be married. I never thought I wanted to have kids for multiple reasons, but one of being, I thought I was going to ruin them. I could hardly take care of myself, I felt like. And then the other thing is I didn't want to degrade my status because I'd never wanted to be just a mom, because somehow just a mom seems like somehow you're low ranked in importance. And how I got to that pivotal point was I became a mother. I loved it. I did feel like I had lost some sort of identity, and I felt ashamed. We go to parties and people would ask Grant what he did. And at this time, I believed very early on that the kids, I just wanted to be very hands-on. I didn't work. I wanted to be just a hands-on mom. Plus, we didn't have the financial means that we do now. So we didn't really think of actually having the luxury of having help at that time. But regardless, we'd go to a party and somebody would say, what do you do? And Grant would say, oh, I run blah, 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 blah. What do you do? And I would catch myself saying, I'm just a mom, and felt like, just kind of looked over at that point like, oh, next. And I'm sure maybe that really wasn't existing, but in my mind, that's how I interpreted this scenario. So true or not, one day I had the cognition and the realization of really how degrading that is for women to do to themselves. Because if you look at, let's say, the population of planet Earth, some big attack happened. Let's say aliens came down or something and it got wiped out. Let's say there's only 30,000 people left on planet Earth. If you could just imagine that for a moment, how valuable then, with the scarcity of women, how valuable would women be to the future recreation and development to mankind? They'd be pretty valuable, right? You'd go out of your way to make sure they were healthy, protected, you know what I'm saying? But we don't do that nowadays. And certainly I wasn't looking at myself, whether a woman chooses to be a mother or not, that's irrelevant. I'm not judging any woman's value on whether she's a mom or a worker or whatever. To me, that's so crazy. Like, you should judge your value on who you are as a spiritual being. How many people can you help? What are your contributions? Are you trying to make a difference for the better? That should be how you evaluate yourself. At least that's how I do it for myself now. But anyway, long story to wrap that up is that I just had that realization that women have the power to keep a civilization in continuation, and how valuable that is. And why would I ever say I'm just a mom? Like, I'm responsible for the rearing of 2 children to become productive, contributing members to society. Like, that's a big deal. Like, anyone can do any sort of a job, but can you really do that job well? It's a difficult job that gets very underrated, and I would love to see women take back that pride of what it means to be a mother, own that role, not feel degraded by it, have it valued. And then when we're at a party and somebody asks Grant what he does, and he's like, oh, I'm the CEO of this multi-billion-dollar company, enterprise, and then they look at me and say, what do you do? And I say, oh, I am a mother rearing 2 amazing children.
And they are.
Oh
and
my
gosh.
And then somebody would look at me and go, wow, you're a mom. Thank you for your contribution to mankind. Wouldn't that be awesome?
It would be. And I got to tell you, what you and Grant have done with your 2 daughters, Sabrina and Scarlett, like, they freaking crush it. Like, I saw them at the 10X Growth Conference. They are just, and everything that I see, of course, you only see what you see, but everything I see about them, they just look so happy. And I don't think you can fake that. Like, they just look so happy. Yeah. And I don't know if I was that happy when I was a kid. So I got to say, good job. You're doing amazing.
Thank you.
And that kind of brings me to my next question, because we're here in Austin. We've got an event, right? And this event is Not on Our Watch, Texas, where we're talking about, the human sex trafficking of children and things like that. And I wasn't really aware, but I guess Texas is a hot spot for that. Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose to say yes to speak at this event, and then what maybe the audience can expect to hear from you?
Yeah, okay. So I chose to speak at this event because my purpose in life, I have 3 purposes. 1 is to empower women, 2 is to protect children, and 3 is to restore the family unit to this planet. And so when I was invited to speak here, protecting children, I can't think of a more noble cause. They, for obvious reasons, can't defend themselves. They don't have a voice. And some of what is happening and occurring on this planet has not, it's such a difficult subject to look at and address, and it's so much easier to not confront it than have to confront that type of evil exists. And I'll tell you, I ignored it for several years. My friend Marisol Nichols, she's actually partners with Tim Ballard from Sound of Freedom. She's an undercover operative with him, and they go into these undercover operations, and she's an incredible friend, and she's been doing this for many years. And I told her, I said, look, you can't, and my kids were very young at the time. I said, I can't hear anything. I was not at a place where I could confront hearing that subject matter. I said, look, I will support you in any way I can financially, but I could not confront that at that time. Now it's come back a number of years. My kids are a little older. The situation is not getting any better. And so this time around, I am able to confront the issue, because it's not going to stop until enough of us stand up and say, stop.
Well, I love that you're confronting some of these sensitive subjects, and this one in particular, I don't know why it gets so much pushback and so much controversy. It's interesting to me because I see on, different media outlets where they're calling it, whatever. They're saying all kinds of bad things about this movie. And it's like, at the end of the day, like, these are children, and we got to stand up and fight for these children.
That's 1,000,000% right.
Like, I was listening to Patrick Bet-David's podcast, the PBD podcast, and they had an interesting topic about this topic, and they were saying that even like prisoners, some of the most hardened criminals, murderers and thieves, and they still have like a code of morals. Like, they will kill a pedophile.
Right.
In prison.
Yeah.
Right? Like, that's like the lowest of the low.
It is the lowest of the low.
And so to like, when you see the media and some of these things spinning it to try and make this movie sound a certain type of way.
Well, it makes you want to know who's controlling the media. Right?
Absolutely.
And who is controlling the media? Like, if you really just start, you could get in a lot of trouble for making accusations, but awareness is awareness. If people start looking, well, who funds the media?
Right.
What are all the ads on the media? If you just count, every 5 out of 6 commercials is going to be a specific type of commercial. And then who's behind that industry? There's only a handful of people, that run things and organizations that can get away with something like that.
Right.
So, it's going to take enough of us to band together to be able to just say, hey, let's have a look at this. What is going on? And how can we start to say no?
Well, that's what I was going to ask you. Is the next question is, for the average everyday person, what is something that they could do? I mean, obviously, if you have a platform, like you and Grant, you have an amazing platform, right? What if you're just somebody who maybe doesn't have a big platform? What is something that maybe they could do to speak up, speak out, and try to combat this?
It's a number of different things. You can just speak to your friends. It doesn't matter. The word spreads. Put it on your social media. Say something.
Okay.
Let people know. And a lot of mothers and fathers too, of course, but a lot of people like myself would think, oh, well, I don't have anything to worry about. Well, how is this going to affect me? I'm not even in that world. However, your kids are on social media platforms. They're playing Roblox. They're playing all these games where they have access to all of these people. They have pedophiles that have operations with many different open windows, and they go in, they know how to use the emojis, they know how to talk like a child. There's AI now. They use pictures from other schools or kids, and they have the voice of, and they pretend like they're this person or that person, and they befriend these people online, and then they can start to see who can talk to them, and then it's kind of cool for kids to rag on their parents a little bit, and so they get them to kind of disassociate from the parent, and then they pull them into this thing, and then they find information out about them, find out what schools. They take their time. This isn't like an overnight thing. This is 3 months, 6 months. They find out the schools and they do their research, and they say they're a little kid from this school. One girl, her mother was washing dishes. It's like a little 12-year-old girl. She's like, Mom, I'm going to meet my friend from another school in the driveway. Mom doesn't think twice about it. she goes to the driveway and she's sex trafficked, and they can't find her because now she's in the black market. They cannot find her and she's being sex trafficked. Do you know how maddening and crazy that must drive a family, that they cannot find this 12-year-old girl who's and they sell this to the black, like there's this huge markets for this. So, you know, and not only that, but these pedophiles that are on the, you know, it used to be, as Marisol said, it used to be the white van that
Right.
when I grew up, it was like, beware of the white van,
big
because
van,
that's
yeah.
the kidnapper. Now it's like, no, the social platforms is the white van.
This is
Now
your van
it's-
right here.
Right. And now it's like everyone's TikTok and shake my boobs and my butt and oh, and the mouth and the pucker. And then they get them in to take a photo. They send them a photo. You know, your kids don't know. Of course, they're not going to tell you about it. And then the sextortion starts. And then it's like, if you don't send me more photos, I'm coming after your family, your sister. I'm going to take you. And then they have them hostage in this sextortion ring. And a lot of these kids are killing themselves over it. They don't know how to get out of it. They don't know how to talk to their parents about it. And people like ourselves, parents, don't even realize that this is going on. So they don't even know how to have the conversations. They, you know, I wouldn't think I would have to talk to my 11-year-old about these kind of conversations.
And if you take their phone, they're going to freak out.
Yes.
The kids are going to freak out.
But you have to tell them what to kind of look for and don't, you know.
What do you think is an appropriate age? I'm curious to hear from you. What do you think is appropriate age for a child to have this much power?
I gave Sabrina a phone at 10. I took it away for a year. I gave it back under certain circumstances. You know, it's probably not appropriate now, but my soon-to-be 12-year-old and my 14-year-old have that phone. And it is scary because ads pop up, YouTube pops up. Fortunately, they've told me about some things that they've run across. You know, it's
scary.
It is scary.
Yeah.
And then to take it away is also scary as a parent because everybody else has one. And then if you do want to reach them, that's convenient. So you justify it. It's
right. You justify it because you're like, I got to get in contact with them, right?
Yeah.
Exactly.
But
Keep tabs.
these are conversations that mothers, fathers too. I feel like I'm leaving out my fathers. I love our fathers. But that we should start having. And maybe if we could kind of come together in a big, massive group and say, hey, let's just make the standard, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we all have each other's back on this. Okay, go.
Yeah.
And then it's strength in numbers, and then
That's
we're all
right.
kind of doing it. I don't know. I'm spitballing ideas.
No, I hear you. I've thought about that. It'd have to be some kind of almost like a regulation or something.
thing,
but I don't like regulation.
No, not a regulation, but like an internal
Internal,
agreement.
just
like,
parents.
Like not on our watch. If this
okay.
thing goes
viral, let's get it to go viral.
Let's get all the moms, and then let's put the new. Okay, this is what we're doing. Okay, like let's have our backs on this.
Yeah.
And
but you know what? There's a lot of lazy parents out there.
yeah, I know. I've been guilty of that myself too. I understand it. It's so easy. We're so busy ourselves. It was so easy to say, yeah, play
There's
on
a
the
tablet.
YouTube. I got to do this. I've been guilty of it. But it's to a point now where we have to be willing to say this and our children are more important than what we're doing. And that's where I'm at now, because I have definitely been guilty of this myself. But when it's literally in your face and you're willing to confront it, then you're willing to take more responsibility and do what you need to do to protect your children.
I love it. I love what you're standing for. Another question I have for you: family values, right, are at the core of your message. You talk a lot about it. How do you believe that being in a strong family unit, how do you think that contributes to someone's personal and professional success?
Well, there's statistics on it, and I should have these memorized. I know Grant does an amazing job at this because his real sweet spot and where he really wants to help people is children without fathers, since he was raised without a father. But there's statistics on it. The suicide rate is higher. The jail incarceration rate is higher. Drug abuse is higher. Alcoholism is higher without a father in the household. So
that was me.
Yeah.
I got in a lot of trouble.
So did he.
Yeah, I know his story.
Yeah.
I got in a lot of trouble. I was in and out of juvenile, and you know, I was actually forced to move with my father by the court system. and it was the best thing for me, actually.
Wow. Okay, good.
Because there was a lot of chaos going on
With
at
the
home
mom.
with the mom. Yeah, a lot of chaos going on there. So anyways, but yeah, I know what it's like to not have either or.
Yeah, it's not,
And you're designed to
I
have both.
believe a child should not have adult problems put on them. And divorces, obviously there's time and a place when there has to be a divorce, but there's also a place where we've gotten to in a society where the minute there's a trouble, it's, I don't need you, I don't need that, forget it, I'm out. There's a lot more of that where something could have really been repaired with good communication and honesty and ethics, and integrity. Because a lot of people want out because they're doing bad stuff and blame them for it, but really they're doing the bad stuff, like the cheating or whatever it is that's destroying these families. But so there shouldn't be adult problems put on a child, and a lot of children are having to go through adult problems at a young age. It's not stabilizing. But families that have good family values and structure, like kids appreciate structure and there's stability and comfort. And when you're in a loving family where you see your mom and your dad, yeah, they might have differences and arguments from time to time, but it's not destructive. You see them work it out. You see them in love. That formulates a way where they can grow up and feel safe, secure, confident, competent, in a nice, flourishing environment.
You need structure. I needed it for sure. I was running crazy when I didn't have it. I just had, I needed a positive place to put my energy.
Yeah.
Right. And I know Grant talks a lot about that positive obsession, right? And I needed that because as a teenager, I just didn't have any guardrails.
Right.
And so I was going right off the freeway.
Right.
I'm just going right off the overpass and crashing the car, right? And crash and burn. But it was good for me, actually. I look at it as my superpower now because I was able to see both sides of the tracks.
Right.
I was able to see a life that was destruction and a life that can lead to abundance.
Right.
And, I was able to make that choice and transform.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Good for you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Well, Grant was actually a big part of that. I got into the auto industry in my early 20s.
Wow.
And that was my positive obsession.
I love that.
My positive obsession was the auto industry, and I became the top producer there 6 years in a row. And because I went to his training, right?
Wow.
Back in the day.
Look at that.
Look at that guy. Isn't that crazy?
Wow.
Yeah.
He had a solid head of black hair when I met him, too.
That's awesome.
Now he's salt and pepper.
Yeah. But I want you to actually give him this. I'm going to give this to you. And I want you to give him this because this was the first year that I became the top producer.
Oh, that is amazing.
And it was after this, right?
Wow.
So he taught me some things.
We have to get a video afterwards of you telling me the story.
Absolutely. But yeah, so I needed that positive place to channel my energy because I didn't have the structure, and so that became the place that I put all my energy and focus and time and good things happen from that. So just want to make sure we give that to him.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Okay, so in your opinion, what are some key factors that contribute to raising empowered and confident women, especially in a world like we have right now where everything seems to be upside down when it comes to this gender identity and politics and all that kind of stuff?
Some key factors to raising
some empowered and confident women.
Well, I'll look back in hindsight and rate myself as a mother, but because I think all mothers have a little bit of that mom guilt. But aside from that, I feel like I'm doing a dang good job. And what I came to the realization to believe was, what is my role as a mother? I define this role for myself, which is my role is to create an environment that's a safe, distraction-free environment where my children can find the confidence and the competency to come up with their own life skills. So when I realize that that is my role, nothing else. So I'm not trying to base whether I'm a good mom based on whether my kids happen to like me that day or not like me that day. They're going into their teens, and and it's been pretty good. I mean, my kids are freaking awesome, but they're going through that thing too, where they're like, they want to have their own thing. And so what I've done, key elements, is I realize that they are like their own being. And they have to find their own way. I might know more and want more for them, but I'm going to just create the environment to allow them to either discover it and make their own mistakes. And that's hard for me because I want to protect them from all the things that I went through. And I'm like, so sometimes I have to walk a fine line of, do I give them input or should I ask them if they want input? Now I do give them barriers. Like there has to be a structure and a barrier, and I give them the rules. Like, look, within this box, you can do whatever you want. If you cross this box, I'm not going to get mad at you, but these are the ramifications for that. These are the consequences. And then I have to be strong enough to keep it when they go over into the consequences area. But I'm just trying to allow them to have the freedom to make their own choices and own and have their own things, and really just be there as best as I can as a friend, but also as a mother and the authority figure when I have to be.
I love that. See, my mom had the friend thing down pretty well.
Yeah.
We had the friend thing, but not the authority. There wasn't a whole lot of rules going on there, so that's where the structure comes into
the part
place.
that's hard for me sometimes, because I feel like Grant gets to be the one that comes in and has all the fun with them all the time, and where I'm more the structure. Like we're doing the school and we're doing like when the hours and the structure.
So that's another good question. So what? They're homeschooled, right? Were they always homeschooled?
No, I took them out of school when Scarlett finished the first grade and Sabrina had finished, I think, the third grade.
Okay.
Yeah.
What made you decide to do that?
Well, this was way before COVID, and I was traumatized in school as a child. I just
Me too.
I didn't fit in. I don't like school, and as a mom, like it was just. I hated being a mom at school.
They put me in a padded room.
What?
I'm not kidding you.
At school?
Yes. They had this class called PASS, Positive Attitudes for Success. And they put people that were crazy and had a bunch of attitude problems like me, and they put me in the room with the people that had disabilities. And when we would get too crazy, they put you in a padded room and lock the door. Straight up. Represent Allen, Texas. Yo, what's up?
That's just not.
Isn't that crazy?
That's not.
I hated it.
That's not a good education. Like,
no.
First of all, like education, why do kids get all nervous like that? And they don't know how to study. No one's told them how to study. When you go past a word you don't understand, the whole thing goes blank. How can you be interested if you read something and the rest of it goes blank if you go past a word you don't understand? Nobody taught me how to study. So I went past all these, and then you get nervous and fidgety. There's certain phenomena that comes along with
anxiety.
That. Then today we're feeding kids all these sugars, and the foods are terrible with all kinds of junk and garbage you're putting in it. No wonder they're going berserk. Plus, they're children. They have energy. They haven't been beaten down. Like, their bodies are growing. They're like, I wish I had all that energy. And we're like trying to make them stop because the teachers can't handle it, So, so I was really excited to pull them out of school. And so that was my original plan. I wanted to be at a point where we were successful enough at that time. I wanted to go on a global world tour, which we did in 2019. I wanted to be able to take the kids with us to really educate them about the world.
That's cool.
A real education.
That's cool. Yeah. They're going to learn some things. Yeah.
And so then in 2018 or 17, that last year that I had them in, they missed the first month of school because we had been traveling so much and it was really just getting very difficult. with how many days they were supposed to be in school before they got held back. Then I was like, okay, we're at the point now in our lives financially where we can make the kids part of our lifestyle. So we pulled them out. I had the tutors for them. We went on global world tours. They come, they do the 10X Growth Con. They, so
They
now
crush it.
They
crush it.
And the
Yep.
great news is Sabrina started the 9th grade 4 months ago. She finished the 9th grade in 4 months. She's 14.
Wow.
She's starting 10th grade next week.
Wow.
She's 14. So as soon as she finishes a grade, the next day she can start on the next grade.
Wow.
That's what I love about homeschooling.
She'll be in college before you know it.
Yeah.
Do they plan on going to college? Do you know?
Sabrina was talking about it.
Yeah.
She was looking at going to Harvard or
Yeah.
something like that. She went to Oxford. She took
they're-
political science
Oh,
over the
wow.
school year. She went there for the 2-week program.
They're smart. They are brilliant kids, for sure.
Yeah, I
They're
don't
brilliant.
think Scarlett has the interest. I think Scarlett's got more of the actress bug in her.
Oh, okay. I can see that.
Yeah,
I
she's
could. Oh, yeah.
artistic
Oh, she
and
owns that stage.
She owns that stage.
Oh, yeah. She owns
yeah.
the stage for sure.
Yeah.
I
So
could
we'll
definitely
see. We'll
that.
see. I think if Sabrina goes to college, it's honestly to meet the people of the world.
Yep.
That I think for her, it's
Networking. Absolutely. That's
Yeah.
exactly what I was going to say. All right. So we've talked a little bit about, what's going on, what you're speaking on tomorrow with the child trafficking. We've talked about the family unit. And I want to switch gears a little bit because you're also, you're very vocal about standing up for women's rights.
Yeah.
And in the face of all the evolving discussions around gender and identity, right? How do you approach this conversation? Because it's really sensitive.
Yeah.
And what are your thoughts on maintaining women's spaces and opportunities?
Yeah, I was going to be quiet about it because, I don't like to upset the apple cart. And then I just got to a point where I'm saying enough is enough. If I'm really going to go out there and fight for women, which is what I am an activist about. I
Right.
am a feminist. I fight for women's rights. So other people fight for other things. So, and I want to protect children. And so what I see occurring is not okay. The more that men that want to be women or even go through operations to become women are still not women. And so men that have come into the prison systems have gotten women pregnant, have, assaulted women. Men that are coming into sororities, women are not feeling comfortable there. Women are not feeling comfortable with men in the restrooms that are raping women in the restrooms under the guise that they're transgender or whatever because they have the right to be there, whether they are or not, doesn't matter. There's problems there, and no man should be in spaces with women. I don't want to speak on behalf of all women because certainly there's a lot of them out there fighting for men to be in women's spaces. But as a mom and as a woman, I don't want men in my private spaces, and I want that respected. And I want women to be able to have the right to their college scholarships for their athletic programs. And that's being taken away from them right now. And right now, when you watch the television, I see football and basketball. I see men's sports everywhere, and it's great, and I love it, and I watch the playoff games and the Super Bowl, and other than that, I'm not really interested. And now I have the opportunity to watch women's sports, and they're trying to make this, let's boom the women's soccer and the volleyball, and let's get the women there. Well, now men have the right to come in, and so now I changed the channel from all the men to I want to go watch women, except they're not really women. They're men beating women out of the thing. It's like, when can women just have our, I feel like we work so hard as feminists to get the rights to be these women, to be able to participate in sports and voting and job rights. And now it's like, okay, there's this thing going on where no, that's actually, getting taken away from women. And then for people like me that stand up against that and stand out, then they want to change the narrative and the context and make me sound like I'm bigoted or what,
transphobic.
yes, like
yep.
all these words
Yep.
and stuff that they call me. I'm like, no. Like, you're spinning the story. I'm talking about context.
Right.
Like, I also believe everybody has the right to not be bullied, to have equal rights under the law. You have the right to love who you want to love. There's no judgment there.
Right.
But when you
Do
come
you.
in and take away women's rights,
Right.
then I have a problem.
Right.
It doesn't matter who you are or what you're trying to do in your life or not. It's you're infringing on women's rights, and then I have a problem.
They should have
and
their
I've been
own
canceled.
sports. They should have their own sports.
We should have our own thing. Like this is our thing. Now, I could go on and on about this too. I mean, I feel like, men have lost a little bit of your rights too, from having your own guy group things and guy country clubs where women aren't allowed in, and we've managed to get in there, and now y'all are broken up and don't have your little groups anymore, and it's kind of maybe taken a toll on some guys. And I'm interested to look back now at how we've evolved.
Sure.
What we've gotten, and now how can we make and adjust so that we can actually have it work for all parties involved.
Absolutely. I agree. I mean, I think there's no space for hate, right? I don't tolerate that, but I also think that it's not right to step into the women's spaces.
Yeah.
I don't think that that's right either.
No, me either. You know.
And if they want to do whatever they want to do, that's fine. I mean, I think everybody, you I always say that. Do you, boo-boo. Whatever you want to do. Do you, boo-boo. But at the same time, don't force me to do whatever you're trying to do. Like, don't put those beliefs, don't try to force that on me, just keep it where you want to keep it, and,
Right. So, yeah, it's just going to take enough people willing to come out and not be worried or afraid of being canceled, and that does come with ramifications. I was an ambassador for a company that I was excited about, and they canceled me over saying that in an Instagram post that I posted where I said, look, I'm a woman, I gave birth naturally to 2 children, and a man, no matter what you do to your body to mutilate it, is never going to be a woman, at least today, right now. I'm sure they're working on trying to insert some sort of womb inside of a man, but right now there's 8 billion people on the planet. They've all been birthed by a woman. So because I wouldn't take that post down,
it's a mic drop.
They canceled a 7-figure contract with me, and I couldn't rightfully.
Elena, hold on, let me give you some of these. Hold on.
Yeah, I need some. Oh wow, this is good. I'm liking this. I'm gonna fan myself with these. All right.
No, but wow. Okay, so you felt that.
I felt that, and And it was one post. Why couldn't I just take it down? I couldn't. You know why? Because there's people out there that have that would have to be in a decision to choose between their integrity or being able to put food on their.
Well, I get scared about it. I'll be honest with you. I get scared about it. This is the first time. I was actually talking with C-Rock a couple weeks ago. I had him on the show, and I was asking him, hey, how do you know when to get into these conversations? Because trust me, I want to. Because I have the conversations behind closed doors.
Yeah, I think we just have to start coming out.
And I have a platform, and I'm like, but should I?
Yep.
Can I?
Yes.
And do I?
Yes.
And what is that going to look like?
It's going to look like the people who support you are going to respect you and come to you even more. And the people that have a different philosophy are going to name call you and try to bash you. But you have to be strong enough. It's strength in numbers. If enough of us come out and say, it's not happening. Not on our watch.
Yeah.
In more
Right.
ways than one. Then it will give and inspire more people to be more courageous. It'll put pressure on the companies that want to cancel people for stating the truth, by the way, and it could reverse this thing to say, no, you're not getting away with this. If enough people say, this is how evil exists in the world, because people are afraid and cower. But if enough people, or even one person and the right person, has the audacity to stand in their truth and in their integrity and say, I'm going down in flames if I have to,
Right.
at least they're going down with their own honor.
Mic drop. Let's go. Listen.
Oh, I like these.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so I love what you stand for there, and there's something else that you do that I think is really cool. Okay, you have like a women's or a couples retreat. Like you help couples,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Talk to me a little bit about that, because I'm actually newly single. I'm on the market, and I need a 10X lady. So tell me about what you do.
I'm gonna work on a singles retreat too.
Yeah.
Yeah, to help you guys find and know what to look for in
the partner.
Yeah. So the couples retreat is one of the funnest experiences that we have, because it's really about 25 to 50 couples that are really interested in family values. How do we do more? Getting to being surrounded by other like-minded people, which is fun. And we do really great fun activities. This time it's going to be in the Bahamas. So all kinds of fun. Every night we have dinners. And then in the morning, we do a little mastermind where we just go into a conference room, round table it, they ask questions. I put them through a little small kind of a workbook just to kind of get couples thinking about, simple things like your goals, the partner's goals, and what's the couple's goals? Who are you together? Like, what is the goal together? What are the couple's goals? Trying to get people aligned and coordinated to reach heightened levels of success together. And then what would that look like? And what would the roles look like? And how could y'all each figure out who does what, so y'all are working with each other, having each other's back, fighting the bad guys, versus playing small games and you being the enemy because that's my game. Like the game, when the game's too small, you're fighting your partner because you don't have big enough games. So the game is, oh, I'm going to take him down, or I'm going to be right, or you're not going to tell me what to do, or whatever. But when you've got a big enough goal and target, and you're like, this is our vision, this is our goal, this is who we are, let's go get this together. Then you're like, yes, what do I have to do? Then we become a team, right? Like a football team. You're going to be the quarterback, I'm going to be the receiver, you're going to do this, I'm going to train this, you're going to do that. We're going to run the play. You made a mistake, we're in game 3. Okay, doesn't matter. You do what you got to do to fix yourself. I'll do what I got to do to make you do better at throwing me the ball so I can catch it. And then, but we got to move on. We can't keep bringing up the past because we got the Super Bowl. This is game 3. We got 7, we got 10, we got Super Bowl.
Yeah, we don't care what happened. We don't care what happened 3 plays ago.
Why are we doing 3? Like we made the adjustment and we're moving forward. And when couples really get that whole strategy played out, and then they can start actually be winning the Super Bowl game of life.
Powerful.
Like because I'm never winning a Super Bowl ring unless I own a team. But I ain't ever winning.
Coming soon.
Coming soon. Yeah.
10X.
But I
10X Stadium. Yep.
Like the
that?
way you're going.
You like that?
Yes,
10X Stadium.
I do. Anyway, when they start winning the Super Bowl game of life, you put your trophies there, whatever that trophy is. Not only the win, like, because when you're winning and you're helping someone achieve their goals and their dreams, that's the greatest act of love you can do. It's not prove you love me by watching this movie and turning off your phone. I mean, that's good for that'll get you through like maybe a day or two. But when you're actually winning big, chunky goals and I helped you get there, you're going to fall in love with me even more, and vice versa. And then when I fought this guy and I'm like, all these people behind your back, and then you see me killing them off, you're like, damn. I like this chick, and vice versa, So that's how we keep staying in love, and it keeps growing because, then we win the win. We have the Super Bowl win, the trophy in the physical universe.
And the confetti.
Yeah, and then you're like,
the party.
We freaking
You did it,
And then we got to gear up and suit up for next season.
And I love what you're saying, because so many times, this was in some of my previous relationships, where you have that argument or you have that situation and you stay in that, And it's like, listen, like we just need to move on, keep going forward. Like you were saying, what's the big target? What's the big goal? Let's not stay in the mess.
Right.
Right. And maybe
Yep.
not sweep it under the rug. I actually heard.
You can talk about it.
I heard, who was it? Jesse Itzler and
Sarah.
Yeah,
Blakely.
Sarah Blakely at 10X.
Yeah.
Talking about their scale, how they have a scale of 1 to 10, and if it's under a 10, they table it, or if it's under a 7, they table it and go have like a meeting about it. They have a standing meeting that they'll have those conversations.
Right.
So it gives you time to kind of cool down.
Yes, that's good.
Right.
I believe in that too. I have a method for that too.
Tell me, what's your method?
Oh no, there's a whole procedure. It's too long, but like
Okay.
handling upsets. I mean, there's specific steps and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I need your curriculum, okay? Because again,
Come to Empire Academy.
let's do it.
Okay, Empire Academy is held quarterly. The
Okay.
first one's Empire Mindset. The second one is Dynamic Relationships.
Okay.
The third one is Master Your Money, and the fourth one is Design Your Life, to make it manifest. And those are the 4 pillars to build the foundation of the empire on. And you can't be 10x in your lifestyle, designing health and wellness. You can't be 10x in that and having these relationships failing, because then it's like, you know, and not just the relationship with your partner. I'm talking relationships. No empire's been built alone. You need people.
100%.
You know?
Yep.
So, and you can't be 10x in your relationships and your money is, you know what I mean? Because then there's the foundation. So how do you get them all strength and numbers? That's Empire Academy.
Yep.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, so sign me up for that, okay?
Love it.
I'll reach out to Danny. We'll get that hooked up, okay?
Okay.
Okay, I have another question for you that I'd love to hear from you on. I've heard a lot of people ask Grant or talk to Grant about running for president. I've heard that a million times, right? I'm
Yeah.
sure you have as well. So what are your thoughts on that? Have you all discussed it? I'm sure you have to have discussed it.
Yeah, but I don't think seriously.
Not seriously? Okay.
I don't think seriously. I mean, I don't know.
I've
That's
thought about
just, look what they're doing to the president right now. I mean, the powers that own these things that I'm talking about, these families that own the sex trafficking industry, all these other, the ones that I can't mention, the health organization, the World Economic Forum, all that stuff. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't see them.
All those corporations.
Yeah. Whatever's
don't
behind
see
it.
that?
So,
I
don't know.
Here was my thought, okay? I just want to tell you my thought.
Yeah,
okay?
tell me.
Because I heard all this stuff, and I know the goal, the mission, the target is 8 billion people.
Yeah, it would be good.
Right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, wow, that would be a way to hit the target for
That
sure.
would definitely be a way to hit
Whether
the
you
target.
win or not, you're going to hit the target. And then forget it. You just, from there, like, maybe you don't even want to win. And I know Grant wants to win everything he does.
That's true.
But maybe it's like not even
I don't know.
about
You
winning.
think I'd make a good first lady? I mean, I'm so
I think you should run for
protective.
president.
That was a conversation we had one time. We were all pretending around the table as if I was the president, and they would have to, like, Grant would have to walk behind me with leaders.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, I think he thinks he could handle it, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. I'm just, but that would be pretty amazing, wouldn't it?
That would be the best.
Oh my gosh.
That would be.
Wow, that would be a day in the life of, if you could have one wish and that was it, that'd be fun.
Yes. Oh my goodness. Well, Elena, I just want to say thank you again. This has been an amazing episode. Hopefully the audience got a lot out of it. We touched on a lot of subjects today, and I can't wait to hear your speech tomorrow at the event.
Yes.
You guys can go check it out at notonourwatchtx.com. Okay, notonourwatchtx.com. And can't wait to hear your speech and what you got for us.
Thank you. I'm
Absolutely.
excited too. Thanks for having me today.
Absolutely. Guys, that's the show. It's all about who you know. Bye.
And who knows you. That's even more important.
Who knows you? Who you know.
Because you could
Then
know
what you
somebody. You could know somebody,
Yeah.
but they got to know you.
Yeah.
So get known. That's the point of that.
Get known.
Get known.
Yeah, I asked both you and Grant that question on the last episode, and both had that answer down.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I stole it from Grant. I'm going to be honest.
Who knows you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I stole that one from him.
Because I know Jerry Jones, but he doesn't know who I am, so it's
See what
irrelevant.
I'm saying?
It's irrelevant.
Right.
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, he doesn't know me either, but I saw his yacht in the
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, in the south of France. But if he knew me, maybe he would have invited me on board for dinner.
Maybe. Well,
I gotta
I'll
do a
invite
better
you for
job.
dinner. Come to Dallas.
Deal.
Let's go.
All right.
All right, bye.
Thank you all for having me, hosting me in your great state of Texas. But it just starts with a commitment. Not on our watch. No more.
And now I'm so proud she serves on the board of Not on Our Watch. Give it up for Elena Cardone.
Thank you all for having me, hosting me in your great state of Texas. I really appreciate it. So I will be very honest. Several years ago, first of all, let me just thank this incredible panel. Y'all have taught me so much. You've moved me. The judge, everyone. Lisa Beth, you're incredible. Of course, we've got to thank our First Lady of Texas, Cecilia Abbott, for being an advocate here. I want to tell you that it really is an honor to be invited to be on the board for Not on Our Watch. This is the part that's hard for me, is because several years ago, my friend Marisol Nichols came up to me. She's a very well-known actress. She's got a long list of achievements. She's on Riverdale right now, so she does actually have a lot of young followers right now. But several years ago, she went undercover. She's an undercover operative to bust these child sex trafficking rings. Her partner in the field is Tim Ballard, who now we all know from Sound of Freedom, but that's her partner in the field. And she came to me several years ago about what she was doing and about this subject and situation. My children were very little at the time, and I could not confront that evil. And so I said, Marisol, I will support and help you any way that I can financially, but I can't hear it. I don't want to hear it. I can't hear the stories. I cannot confront it. I don't want to hear anything about it. I just, at that time in my life, and I am ashamed to admit that now, but that is where I was at. I could not confront that. And now my children are about to be 12 and 14 years old, girls, and this problem is not going away. And I re-looked at where I'm at in my life. I'm at a point now where I've had a lot of financial success and legacy financial making goals. And now in this next part of my life, it's about a spiritual legacy play for me and what is my purpose. And now that I've attained some certain things that give me more freedom to really live out my purpose. As LB said, I finally found myself. My purpose is to empower women, protect children, and restore the family unit to this planet. And I've finally gotten myself to a point where I can confront evil. I am strong enough. This is my first speaking event on this subject. This is not my wheelhouse. I speak in front of thousands of people for many different events. I've spoken to stadiums of 34,000 people. This is not my arena naturally, but this is going to become my arena. This is what I want to do. I am so greatly appreciative of the panel and everyone here's advice to me. It made me realize, I told my children, be prepared because we're going to put our phones in a basket at night, and I haven't done it. I got reasonable. I'm going to implement that. It is so thank you for that piece of advice. I'm playing scenarios over in my head, and my daughter did come to me and tell me a story about her friend who has all these little boyfriends on social media, and she told me something that he said that was really vulgar, and I made a phone call to the friend's mom because I started to become aware. I've recently just really started to indoctrinate myself, so I'm not the expert. I do commit to getting the knowledge that I need. I want all that information that these panelists are going to provide for us. I want to study it. The more knowledge I have, the more responsibility I can take for the area, the more control. But I'm telling you that this is still happening to me, even though I think, oh, wow, I'm getting involved. I made the phone call to the mom in the text message, and I said, hey, I'm on this board. I want to talk to you about a few things. What did Maya do? Immediately. And then I got busy, my excuse, and I realized when I was listening to the panel that I never had that conversation. This was probably 2 or 3 weeks ago, and I never had that conversation with that mother. And her child is probably being victimized right now by another predator out there that she thinks is her friend, and her another 12-year-old, when that probably isn't the case. And I just kind of went blind to it. So it's astounding to me. I have a lump in my voice because you think that this really can't happen. And the more that I get around this and hear this and can confront it, the more I realize the more we really do need to unite, be strength in numbers, really get information to be able to support each other. It is a different world than we grew up in. We need to figure out how, exactly what everyone said, how to have these conversations, how to not blame them, how to, what was the gentleman said, not when he said when they put the nugget out, not to react, lose your mind. All these golden nuggets, I just really can't thank this panel and the work that you do. I believe your name is Brandon, if I didn't butcher that. Brandon and Maureen, and thank you. Because you changed my life today. I want you to realize that you changed my life today listening to this, because I got more knowledge, and with knowledge comes more responsibility. I'm more responsible right now than before I walked in that door. And I know I'm probably speaking on behalf of a lot of you right now, even though I never like to speak on behalf of anyone else. But if I am speaking on behalf of you, raise your hand so I know I'm not alone. Okay, awesome. And thank you all. I had just made a couple of notes here. I'm just going to briefly go through some points that were a little shocking to me when I did my research. Again, I'm not the expert, so if any of you guys and gals back there that were on the panel, if anything I'm saying is false and not true, I will not be offended. I'm here learning. I'm here as a student. I'm here as an advocate. I'm here because I want to be more of a figure, and I have to just start by doing it. It's like the other gentleman said. I mean, my light bulbs have just been going boom, boom, boom. It's commit first and figure the rest out later, like the soccer, your soccer analogy. Like, he's like, yes, we're going to do it. He didn't know. Commit first and figure the rest out later. So that's what I'm doing, and that's why I, came here to Texas to be here with you, to just start, not wait until I think I'm perfect or know more or I'm the authority to speak on it. I haven't been in the business for the 20 years or the 10 years or even more than 6 months, but it just starts with a commitment and a commitment as the judge said to decide, not on our watch, no more. So let me just tell you some things that I ran into in the research, okay? So yes, they already said all of our children are at risk of being potential victims to sex trafficking and or the sex exploitation. I'm convinced after the numbers and the statistics and based on now as I'm recounting things in my mind, I'm pretty sure, again, I could be wrong, but I think if the data is true that they're saying it's within minutes, every single one of our children have come across it. Maybe they escaped it, but I'm almost certain all of our children have had a flicker or if not directly targeted. I'm just convinced of that from today. Okay, so I found out that the United States is the #1 consumer and producer of child sex trafficking exploitation in this world. Is that true? United States is the #1. Like, I did not know that. I always thought it was over there. So yeah, we're the largest producer and consumer of child abuse content. The New York Times reported, I guess this was back in 2019, so the number could be different, but I'll quote it. The sexual exploitation of children on the internet is a $20 billion industry that continues to expand in the US. It's probably a lot more, I'm guessing. I mean, think about that though, a $20 billion industry. Is that fair just from the internet? Do you think that that's a real number or do you think it's more?
I mean, I'm sure it's more now, but yeah.
I mean, but imagine that, like how big of a company has to be 20 billion? Does anyone have any of those figures? Like, I think Lisa and I were looking up, like, you have a supermarket here or something. Yeah, like 20 billion are companies that everyone's heard of. Yet this is an industry that, unless you're really in it, and maybe I'm just totally occluded, but up until very recently, isn't really known. You know, it's like Mr. Montgomery, was that from the? It's like Mr. Montgomery said, like, you can't fight a battle if you don't know it's there or exist. This is an industry that is highly profitable that I would think most of us don't really understand the nature and how ginormous. You know, you can't arrest yourself out of this, your way out of this, which is why we need to come together and kind of figure out and start having these conversations and bringing about awareness. And how do we support these other entities and organizations that are fighting these people and arresting them and getting to show up and see Cowboy Marine back there. Like, how do we support more of these, you know, because I want to see his face, you know. So, yeah, just these things that I found out, you know, the molesting of a child in front of a live webcam can earn these degenerates $1,000, I guess, per video, per night. I mean, it's stuck there forever. This is all eye-opening to me. It's just unreal. How they do it, how they groom our children. Y'all talked more about that than I care to even imagine. But this is what I summed up from what everyone said here is they secure the trust. That's what I heard you say. They secure the trust. They fulfill the need. They isolate them from potential support. And they eventually take and exert total control while working to normalize the abuse. That was the summarization. I'll probably make up those words too. Okay, this is an interesting tip. Not really know where it's going, except for this is a multi-billion-dollar industry just in the internet alone. We know that, okay? So I'm not sure who's profiting from this, what organizations are profiting for this. A lot of people I know are profiting from this. I'm not sure what the content or the reasoning behind this is, but the American Medical Association, the AMA, just downgraded pedophilia from a disorder to a preference. You can't make this stuff up. I don't know who they is. This is why I'm here. I don't know. I don't know what is the big mastermind. I'm not trying to be a conspiracy theorist, but I've got to open my eyes and start pulling the string. Like the string of, the lady that spoke about her daughter, and she saw the one picture and pulled the string, and that was just the tip. We've got to start pulling the strings. Like, what is out there trying to set us up to accepting and normalizing, and why? There is a need. United States is the #1 producer and consumer of this content. Somebody or something has an agenda to keep that and make a lot of money off of it and to normalize it because it is a big business. People don't like when you threaten multi-billion-dollar industries. They don't like it. What they like to do is put organizations and people into place to keep it secure and protected so they can keep profiting. Am I right on that? Do you think I'm right on this? Not on our watch. I love that. I love that. Okay, so let's see. Bullet points. Again, these people are contacting our children with the computers, with the tablets, with the phones, and it's while we're in the same room, the next room, we're watching TV, we're doing the dishes, we're doing our work, and this is happening. And I've heard Marisol Nichol quote this phrase, and this could be a common nomenclature in your industry, but that phrase that people keep saying that I keep hearing, which is this technology is the new white van. This is the thing that we need to be aware of and to alert ourselves to, is really not to be discarded. It's really true here. That's what I got from this event today. So I'm just going to bullet point and again highlight what I heard from everyone else. It's the education, the knowledge piece. It's crucial. Understanding the signs, what you're looking for, and they have all the content that y'all provided in the back of the room. Number 2, the open communication. I love that advice. Don't go crazy? What was it? Don't lose your mind. Don't lose your mind. Open communication. Believe them, trust them. Don't make them wrong. They're a victim, okay? They are a victim. We've got society telling us all kinds of crazy stuff. All kinds of crazy stuff. We have all kinds of influences in schools and everywhere, indoctrination about what you can be and not be, and you can be everything, and it's cool to be this and that, and if you're, straight, you're boring, if you're this. Like, there is so many crazy ideas out there right now. How can you blame them? I mean, how can you blame them when a kid can show up at a school, wear a tail, and go piss, excuse my French, if that's even French, I don't want to insult the language, but can go pee in a litter box in a bathroom because they identify as an animal, and they can walk each other around by leashes? This is really happening in schools. And yet, if your kid accidentally, on purpose, takes a picture of a boob or a vagina, we have to go make them wrong when they're living with all of this thing, and this is right, and this is cool, and I don't want to be like mom and dad. They're sticking the muds, and this person's like, how can you blame them? They're being groomed by everyone in society and everything that's going on. It's just mind-blowing, and we have to say and take a stand. Like the judge is saying, we have to be the mama bears and take our power back and say, this is it. Not on our watch. It stops here. We have the power. We have the power, okay? It's like he said, when we make up our minds, nothing can stop us. Power, the definition of power in the dictionary means the capacity, or actually I wrote it down word for word. It means It doesn't say you're the CEO or a billionaire, millionaire, whatever. This is the definition of power, and this is what we have. This is what we need to claim back. Power is the capacity or the ability or influence of the behavior of others or the course of events. It's the capacity or the ability to influence the behavior of others or the course of events. That is power. The derivation, the origin of the word power means to be able. Be able. We all need to claim our power back as women, as mothers, and take a stand on what we believe in. If you believe in family values, you do not need to be afraid of hurting somebody else's feelings because they think that they're a cat or a dog. Okay? I'm also not saying they need to be bullied or not have equal rights under the law, okay? No one deserves to, I mean, there is a line here. It is your power. It is our rights to say this is what and how we want our children influenced. And I don't want your say on what I do and with my children. And we have to be willing to have strength in numbers and not worry about being canceled or not be worried about who's going to call us whatever phobia phobic, not inclusive, this, that, or whatever. It's, you know, what's true for you is what's true for you. And the people that align with you and your morals, your values, your beliefs, they will gravitate to you. And the people that don't and are not for families, there are people on this world that have an active interest in crushing the family unit. The people that want to put you in boxes and label you an anti this or that, I promise you, they're anti-family unit. That is your enemy. That is the enemy to the people that go out there and want to try to rehabilitate the family unit, because they're trying to kill it, by the way. They are trying. I don't know who they is. I have to continue to study and do my research, but I do know there is a big effort out there to crush the family unit. They're not giving us says in our school. They're not telling us what they're doing with our children. They're trying to eliminate you and us from having the power of influence over our families. Those are the enemies to us, okay? The people that want to put you, label you, they're either against the protection of children, against families, and against any person that actually has the audacity to stand in their integrity and speak up and stand up. So that's why I'm here today. I am willing 100% to say what I feel. I'm no longer, I've made a decision. I am done worried about being canceled. I'm done caring about the labels. I need to take a stand. We as women and men need to take our power back. If you are on this path and you agree with it, take our power back and take control. Control, knowledge, responsibility, and control, not only for our families, but for our communities, and change the trajectory of this planet. I believe it's the women that are going to do that. It's in a downward spiral right now, and we can no longer afford the luxury of staying silent. So, in conclusion to this massively impactful, powerful day that I have been bestowed, I would like to invite you, if I may, to join Not on Our Watch. I think there's a QR code. There's a QR code. It's a nonprofit. If you wanna, Jeremy's finding the QR code. To all the live streamers out there, you know, there's the QR code. They're showing me that they're on cards on the tables. They're there too. So look, if you want to be a part of this nonprofit, you want to get more knowledge, information about the tools and how to have conversations and let's see, the online awareness, recognizing red flags, the reporting, the support organizations, advocacy. You want to participate, you want to commit first while we figure this thing out. Let's get strength in numbers. Let's build a movement, a coalition. I think I just made up another word. What is the word? Coalition? I never went to college, okay? But hey, I'm going places in life, okay? When you don't know words, just make them up. That's what I do. What is the word? Coalition. Let's form a coalition. Let's make a decision today that we're the ground roots, we're the founders. We can create a movement. If each single person in this room made a post or contacted a friend, I guarantee you, before I get on my flight back out to Miami, I am talking to my friend's mom. If everyone just actually does a physical activity in the physical universe, does a post, does something, we literally can reach the millions. We can make a difference. We can join this little organization. We can continue. I want to bring this to Florida and just continue to bring awareness. The more that we do, the more that we'll figure out what to do and how to do it and how to join forces and figure out what's needed and wanted. Because I don't know, this is new for me. You know best, and y'all know best back in the room, and you can advise people like me that can use our influence, no matter how big or how small it may be, and recognize that you do have the ability, as Mr. Montgomery says, to save a life. And we can, and you are that powerful, and we are that strength in numbers. So I just want to thank you all for having the Floridian. By the way, I have apartments here. I have apartments in Austin. That's got to count for something. I've got apartments in Houston. I'm rooted in Texas too. Okay. So I just really want to thank you for hearing me out on my first ever groundbreaking step into my non-comfort zone spotlight for the first time. I promise you, I'll become a better speaker on this subject. I will probably cry less. I will be more empowered. I'll do my part. And whatever we can do that I can help these people on the front lines continue to do what they're doing. We need you. I applaud you. And you can just count on me from this point forward that I'm going to do everything I can to protect these children and to wipe this out because, I started off saying they need us because they don't have the voice or the strength or the ability to pull themselves out of this. So I started to say we need them. And I had a conversation with a gal earlier. She had to leave. But she said to me, you say they need us, but we need them. These are our children. These are our children. This is the forward motion of mankind. Like, we need them. So we need to stand up and protect and help them. And thank you so much for having me on this stage today. And it's really an honor. Thank you.
Yeah, my name is Brian Montgomery. I'm here today to kind of tell you the story of our family and a tragedy that occurred. Talk about my son Walker Montgomery. Walker was 16 years old. We were a very close family. We were always together. We hunted and fished together. Walker developed this intense passion for football. If I could describe Walker, it would really be work ethic. If he came into a room and met you, he would walk straight up to you and shake your hand and tell you his name and look you straight in the eyes. He was that kind of kid. But all those strengths really became a weakness to Walker on the night of this tragedy. Walker had come home from school, worked out. Bennett and I had gone hunting that afternoon. We'd gone bow hunting for deer on our farm. We had supper together as a family. Just a very normal night. I remember having a conversation that night around the table. We were talking about Walker had just gotten his driver's license, and we were kind of picking at him because he wanted to put big tires on it, and he's a teenager, right? My wife put Walker to bed and Bennett to bed that night. Just an ordinary night. Prayed with them, put them both to bed, and everything seemed perfectly normal. But around midnight, Walker received a message on his telephone from across Instagram, through the messaging portion of Instagram. Looked very normal, looked very innocent, and the message was just something like, "Hey, what's up?" Walker answered it and said not much, just hanging out. And the conversation was, again, very normal. Like you play football, how's school going, where do you go to school, where do you go to school? What you would think of as just a normal teenage conversation, nothing out of the way, no issues at all. Well, that led to this person convincing Walker to open a video chat to have a sexual encounter over the Instagram video portion. And Walker didn't know it, but the whole time he was being recorded. He was being recorded by another device they had on the other side. And as soon as that encounter was over with, they came right back to Walker and said, "Hey, we've got this video of you, and if you don't pay us $1,000, we're going to send it to everybody that is on your Instagram list." And I even further can't imagine that stress as a 16-year-old boy who's still trying to figure out his way and his place and all the things that come along with that pressure. So in an instant, Walker's life was being really threatened, because the conversation went very much like that. I mean, these people were telling Walker, "Hey, your life's over. Everything that you love, everything you care about's gone. It's done. Nobody's going to love you." And so all those conversations, they just continued to build this mountain in front of Walker, and telling him if he didn't pay them, that they were going to send it to everybody. And Walker's begging them to stop, begging them to quit, and of course they wouldn't. Eventually they get to the point where they're sending Walker screenshots of their side, of the messaging sides, showing that they're sending those videos out to his friends. And that continued, and as far as Walker knew, that was being sent. But the reality is that it wasn't. Nobody that we know of received any of those videos, but Walker thought they were. They wanted the money. They said, "Steal it from your mom and dad." Walker said, "I can't do that." Just continues to mount this pressure, and eventually they show Walker where they've sent the video to his mom, and Walker responds, "I'm just going to kill myself." Their response was, "Go ahead, because you're already dead anyway." So that conversation lasted about 2 hours. Started about midnight. Looks like it was over by around 2 o'clock in the morning. And at some point during the night, Walker goes into my office and goes into my safe, which he had the combination to because of our ventures, in the woods, always hunting together. And he went in there and got a handgun and went back up to his bedroom. At some point during the morning hours, took his own life. So the question would automatically be, what would lead to this kind of tragedy? One of the things that I talk about, and I've talked about a lot, is the aspect of teens having access to their phones during the night, or in private places. We were looking at Walker's phone and trying to understand, what was going on. Was there some depression that we didn't know about? Was there some mental illness? And we don't see any of those factors in Walker's communication at all. The only thing that we found was some pornography use. But I believe the current statistic is about 87% of men have looked at pornography in the past year, and 47 or 8% look at it on a regular basis. In our generation, it didn't lead to these types of problems. But in this case it did. I believe Walker saw this as just one step further into that world. He was a 16-year-old boy with a healthy sex drive. If you're a man, you can relate to that. This is happening on a systematic scale that we really can't imagine. One of the reasons we're in this situation is because we didn't know. You generally don't protect yourself from something you don't know about. And so with that mindset, I know that if we would have known that, we would have done something about it. I think it's a natural instinct to want to keep this private. It's embarrassing. At the core of why Walker did what he did is because of how he anticipated people reacting to him, right? So the other side of that is the culture we live in. How do we embrace people that make a mistake? What I would have, if Walker would have knocked on my door that night, I'd have said, "Walker, we're going to figure it out. We love you. You didn't make any mistake that I haven't made." And there's not an adult or kid that can say they're without blame or without problems. We've all made mistakes. And so as a parent, I want parents to hear that if your kid comes to you and you know about this, count that as a win. You've won. You've won the fight, because once you understand the problem, you can fix it. You can solve problems you know about. You can't solve the problems you don't know about. This deal with Walker occurred in one night. He went to bed perfectly healthy, perfectly happy, and we didn't get to see him again. Parents and teens and teachers, law enforcement, whoever is interested, in this conversation, I guess what I would really want them to think through is, where do we go from here? And what I would really want to encourage people to understand is that in our society, we've crossed a line. A lot of us don't know we've crossed the line. I didn't know we had crossed the line. The line is that we've got a really dangerous tool in the hands of kids that can't handle their responsibility. And change is hard. Change means that you ask your kids, I want to take the phone tonight. It's going to my room and we're going to start a process of accountability. That's change, and that's hard, because if you're talking about a 16, 17, 18-year-old kid that may not even, probably not paying their own phone bill, but they're used to that freedom, it's a difficult conversation for parents to have. Teens, I would tell you, let your parents provide that oversight. Let them help you. They love you. They don't want anything to happen to you. There's nobody with more vested interest in your future than your parents. And so this collaboration of parents and kids and letting that guard down, and let's figure out how to move forward with that change and the understanding of the threat that we're against, it's real. My family is proof that it's real. And I don't want that to happen to anybody else. So we believe that God is going to achieve His purposes through this, and that Walker's life and death will be used by Him. So we went to bed that night thinking the next day was going to be perfectly normal. Something I talk about pretty regular is the next morning we were on the couch and crying and upset, didn't know what to do. And Bennett, Walker's brother, looked at me and said, Daddy, this was just supposed to be another normal day. And we think about that, and we expect every day we wake up is going to be another normal day. We woke up today and we thought, well, this is going to be just like yesterday. But it's not. We don't know when tomorrow's coming to where our lives are going to be turned completely upside down. And time is really important in this space because it moves quick. And the reality that Walker could go to bed healthy and not wake up the next morning it's unimaginable. And so what I'm asking is to use whatever influence you have today to try to make a difference. If that's with a legislator, if that's with your social media platform, if that's just with you telling a friend with what's going on in this world, it's really important, because knowledge changes everything. If Walker could have just known, if Walker could have just had an idea, I believe it would have changed the whole trajectory of his life.